Okay, good morning to all of you, dear students. Going on with our online sessions, we continue our O-level syllabus recovery. Now, continuing with our module number 6, named Science and Engineering. We have handled some parts of this module last time with Unit 16. Now we cover a new part with Unit 17. Title of our unit is Important Discoveries, and of this title we are about to discover some dodgy words or dodgy discoveries that happened along the years, and we will take a big tour back in history. The objectives we are to cover today, inshallah, are these. First, we have a grammar part, and this will be the past simple passive. If you remember, last unit we covered the present simple passive. This time it will be the past simple passive. Moving on, we have a reading text. It's a magazine article about discoveries from the old times and ancient times. We will also have a listening part about history of flights in different countries. Then we have a speaking part about giving short talks, speeches. We also have a writing part that talks about inventions, and we will handle each one of these objectives in turns as we follow up. Now, let's get to the reading text and the first part, or lesson 1. With lesson 1, there is the title of our unit, Important Discoveries. We have some pictures of some recipes or some would say medicine, some would say coffee, some would say lots and lots of words to be elicited when it comes to this picture. But let's tackle the reading text and check out what we are about to have to learn. Which two sentences do you think, that's exercise 1, which two sentences do you think are true about soap, coffee, and toothpaste? Let's read the options to check out where are the right ones, where are the mistaken ones, and then decide later. A, they are all inventions and discoveries from North Africa or the Middle East. B, they are all modern inventions or discoveries. C, they are all made using very old recipes. There is a picture of the soap, there is a picture of some coffee beans, and there is toothpaste. Now, let's read the magazine article, and we will decide which of these answers is correct and see what we are going to do about that. Read the text and find the correct answers. For that, I will give you a total of 2 minutes starting now. Okay, time's up. There are the answers. Let's check what we have done. That's the first one. This is A and C are true. That means that about soap, coffee, and toothpaste, they were all inventions and discoveries in North Africa and the Middle East. And C, they are all made using very old recipes. But about them being all modern inventions or discoveries, this is the incorrect one. Now, let's move to the next part about filling the gaps in this text, and there are the gaps we have to fill with these. Number 2 will be ashes, number 3 will be archaeologists, and number 4 will be powder. These paragraphs talk about these 3 parts, these 3 discoveries: coffee, beans, soap, and toothpaste, and how they came to the world as discoveries. We also have some words discussed and mentioned by an archaeologist about some powder and about some ashes, and he is defining everything that we had to do. Now, skipping exercise 4 and moving to the next part of our unit, we have lesson 2, and this is the grammar part. This grammar part discusses the past simple passive, and this is a grammar rule we have covered last time. Before we get started, let's cover exercise 1 and then start working everything out. Okay, let's check out the answers. Let's underline the two parts of the verb. Was mixed. Number two was is to be were boiled. Number three is wasn't planted. Four was discovered. Was written. If you pay attention, you would find that all the words or the verbs start with was or were. Was, wasn't, and here is where we have boiled, planted, discovered, written, all the past participle of the verb. This creates or builds the past simple passive. Let's check out the bullet points in the grammar rule or the grammar box and see what does it say. Past simple passive, like the present simple passive that we have covered last unit, we use the past simple passive when we do not know who the subject was or when the action was more important than the subject or the doer, the person who did it. Now, let's check out this example. Coffee was used as medicine. Well, who used it? Who used the coffee as medicine? Not mentioned. But the discovery is more important, as well as the idea of the ambiguity of our doer or subject. So we used coffee as a subject. We put was because coffee is singular noun. Then the past participle and its use. Let's check out the other example. The recipes were written last week. We have the recipes, that's the subject, where the helping verb, the first helping verb of verb to be in its past form. Then we have written, that's the past participle of write. We form the past simple passive with the past tense of the verb be plus not in the negative and the past participle. See the list of the irregular parts in your workbook on page so and so. Now, the examples. These cakes were made this morning. Who made them? We don't know. We use the cakes, which is the object, as it's a noun. We used it in the same position where we would use the subject noun, cakes. Then we used were, as cakes is a plural noun. Made, that's the past participle. Toothpaste wasn't used, wasn't invented in Europe. Toothpaste, that's singular. That's why we used was and not, since it's a negative sentence. Then the past participle of invent, and that's invented. We often use by plus the noun to say who did the action, and that's the real subject. The ink pen was also invented by the Egyptians. So the Egyptians are the ones who invented the ink pen. So if I said Egyptians invented the ink pen, rewrite this sentence to build it into the passive form. I would say the ink pen was invented by the Egyptians. Now, let's go to exercises 2 and 3. Handle these 2 or 3 exercises. And for these, I will give you a total of 3 minutes to handle them, starting now. Go. Okay, time's up. Let's cover the first exercise. Exercise 2, rewrite the sentences in the past simple passive. The Chinese first made paper. Paper is the object. We used it in the simple passive as the past simple passive as a subject. Paper. Since the sentence is in the past, we had to form our passive form in the past. Therefore, we said paper was first made by the Chinese. Was made. Number 2, 3, 4. Let's check out their answers. Archaeologists discovered many important things in Egypt. A famous artist painted that picture. Egyptians didn't invent stamps. They found the world's biggest diamond in South Africa. There are the answers to these exercises, exercises 2 and 3. Check them out, and then let's move to the next part. Moving on. With this part, we have the language function to cover, and that's the important part we have discussed many times. The language function we are to learn here today is given a talk. If you are to stand in front of a group of an audience to speak about something that you want to clarify or discuss, you would start your speech or come to the middle of your speech or even conclude your speech using some of these forms. Let's check out these forms and see what is it about. Today, I'm going to talk about the history of flight. I will start by telling you how the first plane was designed. Then, in a chronological order, I would move to much later, so and so happened. This is how it worked. I will tell you something interesting about this flight. And finally, when I'm about to conclude my part, I would say, let's look at so and so, how that plan design was changed, and therefore we can use these to build our talks. We can cover these in this page, the review page, the last page of our unit, and check out the answers of these three exercises as we are done. Let's cover exercises 1, 2, 3, covering the vocabulary, the grammar, and then the language function. For these three exercises, I will give you a total of 6 minutes to start this task. Start now, and we will check these answers together. Go on. Okay, time's up. Let's check our answers covering the first exercise. Talk about inventions using these vocabulary: archaeologists, ashes, candles, and so on. Complete the sentence with these words. The first one is done for us. Before electricity, candles were used for light. Number two, so and so look for ancient things under the ground. Correct? That's an archaeologist. So archaeologists look for ancient things under the ground. Number three, I always use so and so to wash my hands. Yeah, I hear you. That's soap. Correct. Good answer. Number four, so and so can be hot after a fire. So pour water to sand or sand onto them. That's ashes. Now, let's move to the next part using the past simple passive. Make sentences using the past passive. Number one, glasses, first invented in Italy in the 1200s. Glasses were first invented in Italy in 1200s. Now, number two, the first sandals made of papyrus. Papyrus. The first sandals were, yes, because sandals, that's plural, were made of papyrus. The first X-ray taken by German doctor Wilhelm Röntgen in so and so. The first X-ray was taken by so and so. The metro in Cairo is built in 1987. That's in the past. So the metro in Cairo was built in so and so. The first text message not sent until so and so. I would say, like our dear friend has just told me, the first text message wasn't sent until so and so. Let's check out these answers and as well as the answers to the last exercise. There goes the one with the language function part about ordering our chronological order to give a speech using certain ordering words. Number one, that's C, it's done for us. Today I'm going to talk about the history of pizza. Number two, that's A. I will start by telling you about the name of the Margherita pizza. Number three, that's D. I will tell you something interesting about why it got that name. It was made for the Italian Queen Margherita. Then number four, that's E. Much later, the recipe was taken to the USA from Italy, and the last one is B. That's number five. Finally, let's look at how many pizza restaurants there are in the world today. These are the parts to cover with our unit. We have some word building for the writing exercise, using adjectives and derivatives of certain nouns. We have a noun like history. The derivative of that noun to create the adjective is to change it into historical, origin, original, music, musical, traditional. These are how we use a suffix, which is the al, to make an adjective from a noun. This is the derivative part, and then we are done with our unit. Now, we have covered these objectives as we are known and familiar. When we are done with them, they become outcomes. So we have done this. We have learned and identified the grammar rule about the past simple passive. We also discussed it in some exercises and practiced it. We also read a magazine article about important discoveries, coffee beans, soap, and toothpaste. We also learned how to give a talk, the listening. We moved to the speaking part. That's the language function, the listening and speaking part. We also spoke about the derivatives with the writing task that we had to learn about. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video today, and hopefully, inshallah, we will be working together soon on the last part and the last video of our unit. That's unit 18 on the coming video, inshallah. See you then, and best of luck.